Netflix just released their official trailer for their live-action adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and this trailer was so big that it was already trending within a couple of hours of being released. I'm going to try my best to break down what I saw in the trailer, and if I missed anything, don't be a and let me know in the comments. We first hear this voice that sounds like my uncle when he came into my room at night when I was younger starting to narrate, and we see a ship with an angry lion-looking face on it approaching the camera. I believe this is the Fire Nation attacking either the Northern Water Tribe or the Southern Water Tribe. If this is the Northern Water Tribe, then it's from the season finale. But if it's from the Southern Water Tribe, then maybe Netflix has flashbacks of the Southern Water Tribe being raided in Season 1 instead of Season 3. Here's an amazing shot of Appa and the gang flying over the forest that I'm assuming Heibai destroyed from throwing an unnecessary temper tantrum. We already saw this in the teaser, but I believe these are the air nomads being attacked by the Fire Nation during the Comet Festival. This is Fire Lord Sozin fighting an airbender, and judging from how many firebenders got their clapped on the floor, there's only one airbender I can think of who can do this, and it is Monk Gyatso, and I think this is the monk himself getting turned into grilled meat. Here is Aang exploding out of the iceberg, and for some weird reason, I really like that sound effect from the iceberg explosion. The Fire Nation capital looks stunning with tons of buildings, active waters, ships coming in and out, and mountains surrounding everything. Ozai and his cabinet are in the throne room looking concerned about what he did in the pub with that little boy the night before, but it's very likely they're just getting the news that General Zhao was easily defeated by Aang, or maybe this is even the news of him learning that the Avatar is still alive. Azula with an arrow learning archery. Maybe something in relation to the Yuyan archers, as we can see someone else standing next to her, unless she has other plans with that thin arrow later. Our first look at ostrich horses, and they look pretty cool, and I can't wait to see what other animal combinations are in the show, as we have seen quite a few in the animated series. Zuko is seen here blocking the convoy of soldiers, and I believe this is when he saves Uncle Iroh after being captured. Here is a shot of the gang reaching the Southern Air Temple for the first time, and the place looks absolutely This is a bird's eye view clip of some Water Tribe members after an attack. Now, I don't know which attack this is, but it could be when the Fire Nation came to molest the Water Tribe in Season 1. Aang's name is pronounced properly this time. I still try my best to forget this ever even happened. We then see a quick clip of the air scooter from the intro of the animation, which honestly looks amazing. We get a shot of Zuko's ship from Season 1. Here is Uncle Iroh in Zuko's room, doing what uncles usually do to their nephews, but I could be wrong. It's probably after the Blue Spirit episode. I love this shot of Zuko trying to connect the dots of the past avatars and how they relate to Aang, and the idea of Zuko actually putting pieces together to solve a puzzle as to where the avatar could go next is actually a very good touch to the show, because in the cartoon we mainly saw him complain all the time and just track Appa to find Aang. We see a shot of the Fire Nation soldiers looking like a bunch of dominatrix freaks about to get by their masters, but they look pretty menacing to be honest. Iroh firebending looks really cool and promising. I've seen a few comments from people saying they don't like how they do so many movements in the live action before projecting their elements. Now think of how goofy it will look if the human movements were just like the animation. Yeah, take a second to imagine it. Here we see Daddy Ozai in all his glory, and I have to say they did an amazing job casting him. I almost when I first saw him. This almost looks like some sort of training scene in the Fire Nation capital. We didn't get any of those in the cartoon, and we only got one in the comics, and he was wearing the same exact outfit as this. You could argue that this is the Agni Kai with Zuko, but here is another shot of Ozai burning Zuko. Sokka tells a joke here, making everyone laugh and showing us more of his comedic side, and I'm very interested to see how they make him funny, but not too corny, because not all the jokes in the animation will be as funny when it is in live action. Momo's animation looks really good, and they definitely put effort into it. Seeing them smile fills me up with so much joy inside. We get a glimpse of Nyla and June, and Nyla's CGI looks really good. I always wondered why they called her Nyla. She always looked more of like a Patricia to me. Here's Aang gliding over something, and it has a wall like Ba Sing Se, but it doesn't have any rings, and I don't know where this is if I'm being honest, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. And then we get to see Heibai's evil brother from hell, and the CGI looks amazing, but that would have scared me when I was younger. We get this glimpse of the battle that takes place on Kyoshi Island, and I like how the fire bending looks with a bit of smoke when it is blocked to show its realism, and I like how some soldiers were using fire fists to fight. Imagine getting hit in the face with that, not only a bruise but a burn to the face, perfect attack combo to knock out an opponent. Over here, we see an amazing shot of Aang and Teo gliding over a marshy. I guess they're doing the secret tunnel episode, and that episode in the cartoon was really good, and I just hope they don't turn it into a musical as it has been a trend with series nowadays. No hate to musicals, but I just don't like them. If I want to see someone try to talk and sing at the same time, I just go to the psych ward. We then see the Blue Spirit and Aang fight the Fire Nation guards, and I like how similar this is to the cartoon. I just love how that gust of wind blows the guards off the bridge, possibly making them fall to their death. This is Aang taking down his first Fire Nation ship in the season finale, and then we see him fight the Fire Nation soldiers with a gust of wind that blows all their backs out by blowing them back. We see Sokka throw his boomerang at a soldier and Aang dodges it, and looks like he stubbed his tailbone on a pointed rock with the stank face. Then we see King Boomy launch a few rocks at Aang from what I believe is the fight from when they first met. Now, this is the first bit of solid earthbending we've seen, and I honestly think it looks really good after previously seeing a group of grown men gangbang a tiny rock into motion. This is a very solid way of portraying it, and I really want to see more of it in the show. We then see Aang using air to counterattack what looks like spikes of rocks and dodges them. Zuko and Katara go at each other, and we see this cool clash of water and fire, and it doesn't look like the fight they had at the Spirit Oasis, but I honestly don't mind if they include more fight scenes for the sake of the story as long as it is done right. We then see Jet protecting Katara, blocking the fire with this long, hard, curvy-tipped sword, and I've always wondered why Jet always had a twig in his mouth in the cartoon. But then I realized they can't have a guy smoking blunts in a kid's show to look cool. Zuko and Aang go at each other as we have seen from the first season in the cartoon where they come to take Aang away. We then see the infamous Avatar state and Aang levitating off the ground with a shot of his Wizard of Oz looking boots, and this is probably when he finds out about Monk Gyatso's death in the cartoon, and I really like how the arrows creep up on his bald head with the detail in the lines. Unpopular opinion, but I really like the pattern of the arrows from the 2010 movie that never existed only because I feel like it made it feel more realistic, while the solid blue color went well with the animated series. The trailer ends with the arrows seemingly animated into the title, which is a really nice detail, and the reveal of February 22nd as the release date, and I wish it would come out a week earlier because I've got no Valentine on Valentine's Day, so I could at least hold on to something, but life's a so we don't always get what we want. But overall, it was a really solid trailer, and Netflix really does not have to do much work as The Last Airbender is already such a strong story, and all they have to do is make sure the fight choreography is fluid, the dialogue is delivered well, and the CGI is top shelf, and they would pretty much nail it. Thanks for listening to my annoying self talk this whole time, and you if you have a Valentine. Just kidding.